Okay, so we're going to talk about working in large environments. In Chapter 12, covering Windows installation, right? They mentioned that working in large environments is very different than working in a small company. You're dealing with home users, right? You have thousands and thousands of machines, so mainly you have different deployment and management strategies and options to handle these thousands of systems, right? Um, we have a table in chapter 12. It's 12-6 in the book, and it gives us different various methods for dealing with this. Let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Let's see here. Um, go into our book here. All right, so chapter 12. Um, Let's see, special concerns when dealing in large environments. Let's see. This is the start of it, right? So you got Windows Autopilot, that can streamline our out-of-the-box experience, right? Um, so when a user receives a new device and turns it on, it connects to the internet, enters their name, and it automatically joins the Azure Active Directory. That's the AAD, Azure Active Directory. And it configures all its settings and content for that company onto that device, and no user input is needed. It just automatically does it. Um, you can do in-place upgrades. You can do subscription activations, right? So this is methods with Azure Active Directory as well. You can upgrade Windows 10 Pro to Enterprise. Just by signing in, and the product keys and Windows licenses are kept in the Azure Active Directory and not on the local computer. Creates a Windows subscription, right? So the device has to periodically check in and to get its licensing information. You have the Azure Active Directory join with mobile device management. So this is to help manage mobile devices, comply with corporate policies. You have provisioning packages. It contains settings, apps, and data specified for an enterprise to download a device. It's just so much easier to deploy things, and the user just clicks on things and it automatically goes. But then we have some bare metal, right? Also called a wipe or load. It's a standard image, and we'll see. I don't know if we'll be able to do that in this class with our net labs the way it's set up, but we may be able to do this. But we'll definitely talk about it and show how it. I'll show how it's done at the very least. If not, hopefully get you guys to do the bare metal image deployment. And then we can do a refresh or replace. So those are some of the features. But then you got Active Directory in and of itself is usually one way that differs from small and large companies. Small companies may or may not use Active Directory, whereas large companies will almost definitely use Active Directory, especially if they use Windows. If they're using Windows and they have thousands of machines, they're going to use Active Directory. It just saves so much time. And then, so we talked about that standard image, right? It consists of all the windows in a single Windows imaging file. Let's see here. Right, and if we do a standard image, it's called an image deployment. You're just basically laying down an image onto the hard drive, and deploys everything at once, including software, or it can include software. It's always a clean install, and it's never an upgrade because it will erase your existing data. So let's go let's go out here to our lab. And I just want to show this. Let's go create a new reservation. General, ITS 1305 Spicer and workstation. I want it now. 50 minutes should be more than enough. Oh. Oh, geez. Alright, so we'll come back to that. I got a reservation in 5 minutes. Alright. I missed it. Alright, so we'll come back and I'll show you the WIM file, the Windows image file. It's called .wim. Large deployments, right? You can deploy a standard image using the local installation, right? You can boot from a DVD or a USB device, and if we do get to do it in NetLabs, we'll be using that using the DVD version because we can't connect USB devices. But you can also do a network installation, so you can actually boot over the network using a deployment server. And then the technician would just select network boot, and then they are able to select the system and device from a list of devices or images, and it'll install from over the network. Or you can do a push automation where everything is automated and does not even require a technician to start the deployment. It just gets pushed out as soon as the machine's plugged in and turned on. It actually will go out and get it. But you have to know a lot about the device before it gets plugged in. But it is a nice feature too. And then through all these, you should be using an unintended installation with one of the above options because you want to provide answers to the questions that Windows asks during the installation process, so you don't have to be there and answer all the questions. You want a file that automatically answers them, and we will definitely do that. We'll create an answer file so that it will automate the Windows installation process. User State Migration Tool, USMT, can be used to copy user files and settings from one computer to another. The commands to use the tool are fairly lengthy, so you typically will create and have what are called batch files that automate this process and make it easy to use. A batch file is just a script. We will create many batch files in this course, show you how to automate some processes so that you don't have to constantly always type things and do things that you do over and over. You can create what are called scripts or batch files that can do this. And we will definitely create some simple batch files in this course that will show you how this can be accomplished. Alright, so that is our chapter 12. So let's go. We've got a few minutes here. Let me see if I can get in here. So I've got 3 more minutes. So let's just create a new reservation. All right. Okay. All right, I can't do that. All right. Let's cancel that reservation. Why won't it? Well, isn't that funny? Alright, let's see here if I can find environment. Yeah, I don't have an ISO on here. Oh, hey. Oh, I do. Alright. So this is an ISO file just like we have in our VM in our NetLabs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click it and mount it. So what it did was it created a DVD for me. So and it mounted it as my E drive. So now I'll go here. So this E drive is this file. And so now here's the file. One thing one thing I didn't do is let's eject this. Yeah. Let's go. Alright, so this file is 4 gigs in size. It's 4 gigs in size. So I'm going to mount this again. It'll go to the E drive. But if I go to the sources and I go and find our Windows image file, which is what we're looking for, it's the install WIM. It's the install ESD. This one's encrypted. It's encrypted, but you can see it's 3.35 gigs in size. This is the image. So this had basically all the Windows folders, everything, all laid out, and this installer will install it by just laying down these files and folders onto the new drive. And like I say, it's 3.5 gigs of the 4 gigs, right? So it's almost the whole installer is here, and all it is a copy of the C drive with Windows, right? It's just pretty much this Windows folder, everything in Windows, and it's just a copy of that. Let's see here. I wonder if I've got a WIM file. Let's see here. Okay, so I can enter my lab. Maybe we have it here. Maybe they don't have the encrypted file. So we'll go here, go to our B drive, VM, oops, B ISOs, Windows. We're going to mount it so that we can go through it, go to the source. I'm going to blow this up because I'm having trouble seeing it. Alright, so that's a little better. It's encrypted too. Alright. Let me see here. ESD to WIM. Alright, this is too big. Alright. Alright, so yeah, because this new ESD format, I never liked when they came out with it. It's just a real pain. Uh, right, yeah, I know that, got that. Sources install, yeah, got that. Alright. Alright. Right. Okay, so we need to do that. Alright, so I need to go to sources, install, copy, let's go C. Oh, okay. Alright, so while that's copying, I'm going to get my command prompt up. Alright, so I've got that, and then I want figures. Alright, so this is a issue where you need to run as administrator. So then cd c to esd. Alright, and so then we've got our images, and yeah, right. Alright, so then we want to grab this. Alright, Windows 10 Home, that's alright. Pro is 6. Alright, so we're getting the Windows 10 Home, and it's extracting this into a WIM file. So we're using the disk image system management tool, DSIM. I think that's what it is. But it basically helps you with imaging. We'll learn a little bit more about this tool. All right, so it's extracting, and what will happen is we'll get a WIM file out of this process that we can actually use, and then actually manipulate and modify the files, right? And then we can create our own ISO with it. But yeah, I wish they never started doing this ESD encryption file format, because it's just a real pain to create images and deal with images. But it was just so much simpler when it was a WIM file. Alright, so this is obviously going to take a lot longer than I expected, but let's just see. Alright, I'm going to pause this video and then start it back up when it's done. Okay, so it's finally finished extracting a WIM file. So now we have the install WIM and the encrypted file. One thing is you can just view it with 7-zip. It's a reader, and we have this in our net lab. You can install it, but we got it, and so then we just look at the WIM, right? So it's got the program files, users, Windows, right? And Windows, System 32, right? So that's all it is. It is literally just Windows, right? And we got different versions, right? As well. And so that's all this is. That's a WIM file. But that's in our ISO, and that's how we're able to boot up from an ISO and install Windows, because this is all the folders and files that make up Windows in this WIM. And so it's 3.8 gigs and 3.5 gigs compressed, right? But so that's a Windows image file, right? So the WIM file, Windows imaging file, or WIM, but now it's ESD. It's encrypted. You got to unencrypt it using the DSIM tool, DISM, and then once it's unencrypted, then you can traverse it and manage it with the admin pack, or you could at least look at it through 7-zip, things like that. But we'll go further into it. But I wanted you to at least know, right? You can mount the drive on ISO, and you can look at the files that make up the ISO. And then of course I'm going to eject that, and then I definitely want to delete these, because that's 7 gigs that I don't need on here. So I'm going to delete those. All right, that is our chapter 12. We finally made it through this chapter. I know it's a lot of videos, but we'll continue on, and I'll see you in chapter 11.